Ball fans, welcome back to another explainer. So, we've got a seriously fascinating hypothetical matchup on our hands today. We are looking ahead to the 2026 FIFA World Cup and breaking down a highly anticipated clash between Mexico and South Africa. You know, on one side, you've got Mexico, an absolute CONCACAF powerhouse, trying to prove they belong right up there with the global elite. And on the flip side, we have South Africa. This is a team that is just itching to pull off a monumental shocker and stun the footballing world. So, what's it going to be? Will Mexico's experience and technical mastery completely dominate, or will South Africa's underdog grit and sheer pace actually steal the show? We're going to break down the data, the tactics, and the key players to give you our definitive match prediction.
Okay, let's dive into exactly how we're going to break this down. First up, we'll set the stage with the ultimate matchup. Then we'll roll into the predicted starting lineups, followed by the key tactical battles. After that, we're going to run through how the match unfolds, and we'll wrap it all up with our final score and verdict.
All right, kicking things off with part one, the ultimate matchup. The classic favorite versus the underdog.
Honestly, before a single ball is even kicked, the narrative here is just a textbook David versus Goliath scenario on the biggest stage in global sports. I mean, the stylistic differences literally could not be any starker. Mexico is walking into this as the undeniable favorite, for sure. They've got tons of World Cup experience and a squad just absolutely loaded with top-tier talent playing all over the globe. Their whole game is built on quick passing, elite technical ability, and these incredibly dangerous attacking transitions. But then you look over at South Africa and you see the absolute perfect recipe for a massive upset. They're bringing this fierce, determined underdog mentality to the pitch. They're going to counter all of Mexico's smooth technique with raw pace, imposing physicality, and a super disciplined defensive structure that is basically designed to just frustrate the life out of their opponents.
And you know what? You can really never, ever count out a team with South Africa's kind of hunger. Sure, they might not have a roster totally packed with globally recognized superstars like Mexico does, but their core identity is entirely built on resilience. They have proven time and time again that they can punch way above their weight class and really compete against much stronger opponents, especially when they get that window of opportunity to strike on the counter.
Moving on to part two, let's look at the predicted starting lineups and see who's actually stepping onto the pitch.
Starting with Mexico, here's the stacked lineup we're expecting. In goal, we've got Luis Malagón. The back line is going to feature Jorge Sanchez, Johan Vázquez, Cesar Montes, and Jesus Gallardo. This is a defense that perfectly blends raw physicality with the tactical awareness to push the ball upfield. In the middle of the park, the midfield is anchored by Edson Alvarez, and he's supported by Luis Chavez and Orbelín Pineda. And then, up top, man, the attacking trident that's going to keep South African defenders awake at night. Hirving Lozano, Santiago Jimenez, and Roberto Alvarado. It is a top-tier lineup that absolutely thrives on possession and a relentless high press.
Now let's switch over to South Africa's starting 11. Ronwen Williams gets the nod between the posts. Their defensive foundation, which is basically the lifeblood of their whole game plan, relies on Kaliso Modau, Mathobi Mavala, Siyanda Yulu, and Terence Mashego. The midfield engine room is going to be driven by Teboho Mokoena, Spefelo Sithole, and Thapelo Morena, and leading the charge up front, hoping to capitalize on those lightning-fast breaks, are Percy Tau, Evidence Maguppa, and Zakale Lapasa. It's a heavily structured shape totally designed to just absorb pressure and then completely explode forward. All right, part three, key tactical battles. Because this is really where the game is won. You know, games like this aren't actually won just by having the most talent on paper. They are won in the specific mismatches out on the pitch. And the absolute focal point of this game is right here in the midfield. It's the engine room. For Mexico, Edson Alvarez is the maestro. His whole job is to dictate possession, set the tempo, and basically crush South African counterattacks before they can even get rolling. But standing directly in his way is Teboho Mokoena. Mokoena isn't out there to just hold the ball all day. His job is to win those gritty, crucial duels and instantly launch those devastating quick counters. If Mokoena can actually disrupt Alvarez's rhythm, well, that's exactly where South Africa finds their opening for an upset.
And the tactical fallout of that midfield clash is huge. I mean, if Alvarez wins that battle and Mexico just completely dominates possession, the whole spatial flow of the game completely shifts. South Africa will basically be forced into spending long, grueling stretches just defending deep in their own half. And the deeper they get pushed down the pitch, the harder it becomes for them to actually execute that counterattacking strategy without their forwards just becoming completely isolated on an island. Let's also look at the primary attacking threats, side by side. On the Mexican side, you've got Santiago Jimenez. This guy has really evolved into one of the most lethal strikers in international football right now. His movement inside the box, his clinical finishing, and just his pure confidence make him the total focal point of Mexico's attack. If they create the chances, he's the one burying them. Over on South Africa's side, Their absolute key weapon is Percy Tau. He's totally different. He relies on blistering speed, elite creativity, and veteran experience to just cause absolute chaos for whoever he's up against. In fact, our data highlights South Africa's total dependence on their star forward. It says if South Africa scores, there's a strong chance Tau will be involved. He is literally the linchpin. If Mexico's defense can neutralize Tau, they pretty much neutralize the threat of an upset. But if Tau finds even a little bit of space, Mexico's going to be in deep, deep trouble.
Okay, part 4. How the match unfolds. Let's jump into the play-by-play simulation.
So buckle up, because according to our data, the opening 20 minutes of this simulation feel exactly like a super high-stakes chess match. Both of these teams are playing it incredibly cautious, just desperate to avoid that one early mistake that could end their tournament. True to form, Mexico establishes firm control of possession right away. They start methodically pushing forward, really just feeling out that South African defensive block. Meanwhile, South Africa does exactly what we expect. They sit deep, stay incredibly compact, hold their shape perfectly, and just wait for that one split-second opportunity to spring a counterattack.
But then, the tension breaks in the 30th minute. Mexico's relentless pressure finally pays off. They string together this brilliant, quick passing move that just unlocks the defense, finds Santiago Jimenez in the penalty area, and he finishes it cool as you like. 1-0 Mexico. But hey, South Africa does not fold. Coming out of halftime, they respond brilliantly. In the 58th minute, Percy Tau finds a pocket of space, leads a lethal counterattack, and sets up a stunning equalizer. Boom. 1-1, the stadium is absolutely rocking, and the match is incredibly tense. But as we get into the final stages of the game, Mexico's depth really starts to shine. In the 76th minute, Hirving Lozano whips this dangerous cross into the box, and Jimenez rises above everyone else to head it home. Mexico regains the lead. South Africa throws literally everything they have forward in the closing 10 minutes, looking for another equalizer, but that Mexican backline holds their nerve until the final whistle.
And finally, part 5. Let's look at the final score, the verdict, and the aftermath of this clash. Our simulated final score? It's Mexico 2, South Africa 1. Mexico survives a massive, massive scare from a really determined underdog. They ended up using their superior possession and lethal finishing to grab the win, but South Africa definitely leaves the pitch with their heads held high after a seriously valiant effort.
Looking at the final stats, it's pretty obvious who the difference maker was today. Mexico's goals both came from Santiago Jimenez in the 30th and 76th minutes. South Africa's lone goal came during that awesome second-half rally in the 58th. So without a doubt, for delivering a decisive brace in a crazy high-pressure World Cup environment, Santiago Jimenez easily takes home the man-of-the-match honors. He stepped up exactly when his country needed him the most.
So now I want to turn it over to you. We've looked at the stats, the tactics, and how the simulation completely played out. But what do you think? Do you agree that Mexico's technical quality is going to see them win as expected, or do you think South Africa has exactly what it takes to pull off a massive World Cup surprise? Think about those crucial tactical matchups in the midfield we talked about, and let us know your own predictions. Thanks so much for learning with us today on this explainer, and keep questioning the beautiful game.